This could go horribly wrong, but we're going to find out together. Hello everybody, it's me, Farham, and we're back with the Herald of Ice Monk Super Explosion Clear build, and we've finally got this thing to maps. And today we're going to be going through passives, the gear, the skills that you need to make mapping really, really easy. We're going to talk about where some of the items have had some investment from my main character and the sorts of things that you should probably look to replace those with, or the things that you can craft yourself that will be on the cheaper end. And yeah, ending with a showcase of this thing in a tier 8 map. Bear in mind we started at level 72, just completely blasting everything. This build is awesome. This is probably one of the most fun builds I've played since playing an Aura Stacker back in Vault League or something like that. I think it was Vault League, yeah. This thing is awesome, but let's get straight on in and have a look at the passives. So then, passives. I'll make sure there is a link in the description of this video to something that will have this tree on it so that you can go and look and you don't have to come and keep referencing the video. Although if you want to come and keep referencing the video, I'm sure that's fine too. But I'll put together something written up as well. If we take a look starting at the ascendancies, you want to start off going through I Am the Blizzard. This is for the extra cold damage for Herald of Ice. We're basically starting off just using Herald of Ice and the ring to proliferate our explosions. So we're not doing the dual herald yet, that will come a bit later. And then you want to go into I Shall Rage. This gives you a nice button that gives you big damage bonus, it's like 40%, as well as increased chance to freeze. So you want to have that for either big packs, tough elites, boss fights, that button's there. For your third ascendancy, you want to be going for Lead Me Through Grace. You need to get a pretty decent body armor piece for this to be worth it, especially if you've been running Spirit either on your body armor or on an amulet while you've been leveling. So you're going to want to make sure that you've got plenty of evasion rating and energy shield on your chest piece before you grab that. But that's quite an important piece that you want to be getting before mapping anyway. So I would suggest investing a few exalts and grabbing one that's going to give you at least. Get one that gives you 100 spirit. That's really good. But anything above sort of 90 will do. Above 60 really will do. As long as you can get elemental invocation from what you get from Lead Me Through Grace, that will do to start you mapping, but the more spirit you can get from the chest, you better. Anyway, that's what you want to be doing with your ascendancies. Looking through the tree, you want to start off coming down the skill speed side into Flow Like Water. You want to grab quite a lot around the start of this tree. Crashing Wave for the increased damage when you've dealt a critical hit. You'll be critting all the time, so that's pretty much all the time up. The extra skill speed and mana regen is nice. The extra evasion rating and energy shield is really good. Our tank is purely evasion and energy shield, especially at this stage. We haven't gone CI yet. It's going to be really well. It's going to be helpful even when we are CI, but you want to be taking as many evasion and energy shield nodes as you can, really. You want to go through to Step Like Mist. This is pretty good, again, for that mana regen. Movement speed's quite nice as well for that speedy clear. There's not many things that increase our movement speed around in this game. And go around and grab Essence of the Mountain as well. 5% of damage is extra cold is nice. And 20% increased freeze build-up helps us get that freeze proliferation going on very well too. Especially as we start to step away from potentially using the ring, you'll want increased freeze build-up. Going around the tree a bit more, you want to go up for Moment of Truth, so 25% increased critical hit damage if you've dealt a non-critical hit recently. Not everything will be a critical hit, so that will give us more crit damage. The hits that are crits. You want to come in and grab Immaterial as well. This is going to give you a lot more evasion rating when you have Energy Shield, or if your Energy Shield has just restarted. We've got Energy Shield most of the time. It is looking at about 60% of our total hit points at the moment, so we've generally got it to have that nice big boost to evasion. Next major node you want to take is Killer Instinct. This will give you just more attack damage when on full life or low life. We're, again, nearly always on full life because of the shield, so that 30% increased attack damage is nearly always active. There's a set of crit nodes just above this. You can get True Strike for the Jugular and Deadly Force. Get all three of these. Then you're going to come up and grab Deep Trance. Mana starts to become a bit of an issue. You will be drinking your mana potion. This will help with that. Attack speed is nice too. You're then going to be coming up to this Jewel Socket, but on the way there's a really, really good defensive node here, Spectral Ward. We're going to be getting a lot of evasion rating on our chest to get what it's called again. Got the name Lead Me Through Grace, nice and big. So this is going to synergize in with that as well, giving us a lot more energy shield. But they're going to come down from the Jewel Socket. This isn't in order, by the way. These are just the nodes you're taking. But once you've got to about level 72, respect something like this, it'll all work, right? Come in, grab the Quarterstaffs. You want to be grabbing Whirling Assault and Martial Artistry. You can take more points here as you start to flesh things out. There's some really, really good points here for like crit chance, where the crit chance value for these is really high. But they're not notables, and there's some more notables we want to go for first. So keep coming down. You want to be coming for Coming Calamity. That's going to give you 50% increased cold damage while affected by Herald of Ice. We're affected by Herald of Ice all the time, so that's pretty good. You want to come up and grab Enhanced Reflexes. The dexterity is nice, but the 30% increased evasion rating is really nice. There's also lots of evasion rating nodes around here. You want to grab the increased evasion rating from Body Armor. Again, we're going to be investing a lot in a high evasion rating, high energy shield chest piece. That's going to be something we're going to be investing in a lot as we build this character too. So that's going to be a really, really powerful node for us. You're going to grab Proficiency because it's on the way to get Falcon Technique. Falcon Technique gives you increased attack speed per dexterity. We're going to be sitting on about 100. Well, we've got 165 at the moment, so that's 11% attack speed there, as well as there being an extra 6%. Let's bring our attack speed down to 0.18 seconds when you take everything into account. That's really good. And then with the... I'm coming down next to grab Breaching Strike and Rapid Strike. I want to try out these nodes down here and see how they do. But there's defensive options, there's offensive options, depending on what you think the character needs as you start to progress through your maps. But this is the good sort of base tree, I think, is going to be where you want to be starting around level 70 and sort of building off of this. So, yeah, that's the tree. Let's have a look at some of the gear and how the gear works with this tree and where you want to be making your first investments. All right, let's talk about the gear then. So there's a couple of general rules that we're trying to follow. We are, of course, trying to get ourselves resistance capped. I'm slightly short on fire, but make sure that you are getting those to 75 or as close to 75 as you can. Having them to 75 is definitely advised for mapping. Failure to get that, and you will find things will one-shot you. There'll be random fire meteors and stuff that will one-shot me with 70 fire resistance. I'll have to watch out for them. We've also been trying to make sure we get this evasion nice and high. I think the cap's actually 95%. We're getting close to that, so we're just going to keep pushing that, as well as looking to get this energy shield nice and high too. We can give or take life. It's there to soak up poison damage and bleeding damage, but eventually we'll be going CI to deal with that. If we look at the gear and what we're actually trying to do with each piece, we'll start off with the weapon. So this is actually one crafted myself and corrupted myself. Found it on the floor with one big % physical damage increase on it. Got another physical damage increase on it. Crit speed, and then corrupted, and it swapped 5 dex for 15 attack speed. But this is the sort of weapon you want to be looking for. You want to be looking for something with really high Fizz DPS. This one's Fizz DPS is probably around the 430, 440 mark. You want to be looking for something really with 300 plus on the physical DPS. That's how much physical damage it does by its attacks per second. Because we're doing a crit monk as well, you want to be looking for high crit base chance. If you can get plus crit chance on your weapon, that's going to do wonders for your overall DPS. You'll see this reflected in your skill gem menu. But that's what you want to be looking for there. If you craft one, pick one up. They're kind of expensive on the auction house, but they're not too hard to craft. So either scour the auction house for someone that just sells one cheap because they know they're not that hard to craft, or just keep buying bases like this and seeing if you can get one made up. But really important, you keep up with the weapon. You want high fizz damage weapon with attack speed, with crit hit chance. If you get all that, then you'll be sorted. You'll just one-shotting stuff, it'll be fine. Another expensive piece, but this really does help the map clear, but you can get away without it so long as you've got enough freeze build up, and by this point you will have enough freeze build up for the lower level maps. But you want to be looking to get yourself a pull circle. You want to get yourself one of those. I just butchered the pronunciation, but it's close enough. But you want to get one of these. It makes everything blow up. So long as they've just been chilled, they'll explode like they've been frozen when Herald of Ice goes off. So that's quite important. On helmet, you just want to be looking for something that's giving you your resistances, really. Evasion shield, energy shield base, and shore up your resistances. With the belt as well, you want to be shoring up resistances. If you can get max mana on there, that's always good, but it's another place where you can get a lot of your resistances. For the body armor, this is where you will probably spend a little bit of currency. You want to be making sure you've got something that gives you at least 60 spirit. We'll cover this off when we get into the skill gems, but if you can get up to about 100, 120 spirit from your chest, then you'll be laughing. Something like this will give you 123. But you'd be looking for about a divine for something like this at least. You might want to be looking for something that's closer to about the 600 evasion rating, 200 energy shield. You should be able to pick those up for exalts, or even craft something like that yourself. in which case that will get you sorted, and that will see you through with enough spirit. On the neck, if you can pick one of these up, the Everlasting Gaze, it will give you a lot of energy shield. However, not required. You can get a neck with plus of energy shield on it, plus % evasion, resistances that you need, rarity, and you can wear that and it'll be just fine. This does give a lot of energy shield though, so that's why I'm wearing it. I had one knocking around, been wearing it pretty much the entire time actually. Just had it in my stash. But yeah, if you've got one of these, use it, or you can pick one of these up cheap. I don't think they're too expensive. I'm not sure. But grab one of those. That will do wonders for the energy shield. If not, just any rare amulet that gives you stats and resistances that you need. Your other ring, it's going to be another great place to get yourself resistances. So focus on resistances, focus on attributes that you need. For gloves, these are pretty good gloves. I don't necessarily need the life roll, but the increased attack speed and leech physical attack damage as mana are two really good modifiers. Mana becomes a bit of a problem with this build, and increased attack speed is just going to increase your damage by an awful lot. Again, you'll see that reflected on gem screen. For your boots, movement speed. Movement speed, and my boots are absolutely rubbish, by the way. These are probably might be the next things I upgrade, but movement speed. You want movement speed, and you want your resistances. They're the two things you want. Again, evasion, energy shield base. If you can get lots of evasion and energy shield, that's great. That's going to help your tank. But that's really what you want to be looking for with your items. The most important piece is in the place where I suggest you spend currency if you can't get something or craft something yourself, is your staff and your chest. You really want to be looking for that high evasion, that high energy shield, that high fizz DPS. Those two items are critical to getting this build working really, really smoothly. But once you've got them, everything starts to come together. You'll find that with melee builds. They're quite gear orientated on where they get a lot of their power from. This one's no exception. But let's take a look now at the skill gems. So then, looking at the skill gems, there's some optionality here, and I haven't taken any of them to the Greater Jeweler's Orb level yet. Unbound Avatar just gets there just from leveling up. But in Unbound Avatar, we've got Persistence, because we want it to last longer. And then we've got the Fire, Lightning, and Cold Masteries. There's not really any good gems for this. Just giving them the extra levels helps a bit. Then we've got Temper Spell. You want to have overabundance here. I did some testing out with a couple of other gems, but it just ruins the flow a bit. Overabundance means that you're always generating charges for your next Temper Spell, even if you've got one on the field. Without overabundance, it doesn't do that. But that's really why you want to be using overabundance above any other skill gem here. It is to smooth out that flow of combat. Your two biggest damaging support gems at this point are going to be Heft and Heavy Swing, so you want to grab those on and put those on the bell. For Ice Strike, you're going to take Martial Tempo for the attack speed, Ice Bite for the extra cold damage when freezing, and Primal Armament for 25% more weapon elemental damage. We're going to take Hand of Chayula. This is more for bosses and tough elites, but you're going to have this apply Hypothermia. Make sure you've got Hypothermia in the left-hand most slot, otherwise you won't be able to apply Heightened Cursed. So Hypothermia is a spell, it's not a support gem, this is a meta gem. You're going to apply Hypothermia and Freezing Mark, and have those supported by Heightened Curses. This will, you just use this on bosses or really tough elites, it just makes them freeze faster. It's pretty good, and you do a bit more damage. Herald of Ice is your main aura spell. You're going to have this supported by Magnified Effect, Long Shot, and Cold Penetration. Long Shot's going to do damage as it proliferates out. Most of the things are really far away from you because of how far this proliferates in busy maps. So Long Shot's really good there for the damage. Cold Penetration's obviously getting through 30% of the resistances. That's quite nice. Then we've got our first defensive ability. We're going to take Wind Dancer, buffed by Blind, Culling Strike, and Cold Exposure. Now, Wind Dancer goes off when someone hits you, so they then get blinded. If they're low health enough, they will get Culling Strike applied to them and just cease to exist. And if they last for longer than that, then they get Cold Exposure, so my damage will do more damage and they won't be hitting me a second time. Next up, and this is why you definitely want at least 60 spirit from your chest. If you've got to get 60 spirit from your chest. These final two auras are optional if you can't afford them, but Elemental Invocation is really important. You'll see this in the showcase map at the end. But what you have in here is Ball Lightning supported by Deceleration and Scattershot. And when you put down your bell, you can then use Elemental Invocation and it will fire 9 very slow moving lightning orbs through the bell that will max out the hits on the bell, and it will do all its damage in a split second, and it just one-shots things. So that's really important for making sure you can deal with map bosses and tough elites, which if you're going in above your level on keystones, you want to be making sure that you're not in a prolonged fight because it won't end well. Promise. Right. Now, looking at the things that if you can afford a good chest and you can afford to get enough spirit, then in order of priority, you want to take Ghost Dance. This will give you Ghost Shrouds, which when you're hit will recover your energy shield. So it's like an extra layer of health points that can get procced. If you can afford the sockets on there, you want to put fast forward in that so that you generate the Ghost Shrouds faster. If you can then, if you still need it, take Precision. It costs 10 spirit though. And then if you can afford it, take Vitality. That costs 20 spirit. Next up, you would want Grim Feast. Now, Grim Feast really works well if you've got this neck. The bigger your energy, the bigger your shield pool, the better Grim Feast works. But it will recover an amount of energy shield, and you can keep consuming them over the top. So if you clear a huge part of the map, you can then eat all the feasts and then take a large energy shield to the boss. It's kind of useful, but again, this is optional based on if you can get enough spirit from your chest. If you buff it with anything, you can put Clarity in it. The extra 30% mana regen is nice. But again, this set here that uses quite a lot of spirit, optional based on whether you can afford the Wax Jacket. It will help, but the help is minimal. You will be able to progress through your low-level maps without too much problem, even without Ghost Dance, even without Grim Feast. But yeah, that's what I would recommend with the skills to go into mapping. Let's go and see what this thing can do in a map. Alright, and guys, let's show this thing off in a map. So we've got a tier 8 map here. They take reduced damage from critical hits, and monsters have a chance to poison, which is going to be annoying, but luckily hopefully we're going to dodge everything. So we're level 71, I believe. Yeah, we're level 71, and the monsters are going to be level 73. So let's go. Showcase this thing of what it can do when you first step into maps with a tiny bit of investment. So you'd be easily walking through your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 maps, right? This is a bit of a juiced one. If this is your first time into the Atlas, you'll be having an easy time. But we run in because we're cool. We run around with our Kiwis. Go over here, we blow up all that. Go over here, we blow up all this. We go up here, we blow up all this. We activate the breach and we just start blowing stuff up. Just getting as much of the breach done as possible. Maxing out as much experience as we can. If we see anything scary, we put down our belt, hit the belt. Already dropping exalts. Good times, that guy's going to explode, it's going to hurt. Okay, we made it. More exalts, good times. Going to keep running. More things to explode over here. Blow up some more stuff, blow up this, blow up all that. Oh, that was nice. There's a big explosion there. Just about to level up. Just leveled up. Still pushing this one breach. Never cleared a breach like this on the... Fell down, that was a tough one. Yeah, if anything gets tough, and then what you can do is you can put the tough down, and then you can hit it like that with all these lightning bolts, and it just kills everything. It's great. We've basically finished the breach. We'll come back for the loot. But what I'll do is I'll speed around the map, and then we'll loot it, and then I'll do another... Then we'll like stop and come back and have a look at the loot. I don't know, I've never tried an expedition with this character, so this could go horribly wrong, but we're going to find out together. He should just have a 1 detonator. Press the V to explode it. Yeah, that'll do. Just blow that up there. See how this goes. So let's put down some of that. Press the wrong button. Oh god, okay. So, expeditions... Not looking like too much of a problem. I mean, some of these runic guys are a bit annoying. But, I mean, they're dead. So... Evasion tank coming in strong. So there's a expedition done. Oh, it's got another level, by the way. Probably underneath my head. It might have just come out the other side of my head. Imagine if I die and lose all this loot. Another exalt. We've dropped about 5 exalts so far. This is with no magic find, by the way. This is just juicy map. Lots of enemies. I set off the bell combo. Don't stand in those balls. They're really bad. They're dangerous. River hags are annoying. No, 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 no. You don't want to stand in the river hag stuff. That's dangerous, right? We don't want all this crap. We've picked up so much crap. This is the one problem I've found, and this is why I need to really sort out my loot filter. Is we just pick up too much crap. But yeah, I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 more elites left somewhere, I suppose. Got 2 levels. That's nice. This has been the most fun I've had so far. This has been so much more fun than the minion build. Minion build was good, don't get me wrong. I like minions. Always got a place in my heart. It's not this. Oh god. On fire. Right, just bell everything. Fine. So the elemental infusion like procs the bell. Makes the bell do lots and lots of hits at once. Still more than 50 monsters remain, but where? There they are. So what about 2 levels? We were halfway through the first level. Kill those river hags, get rid of them. There we go, that should be map complete. So there was a juiced up map. I suppose we should go and loot, and then I'll come back with the loot page. Alright, so this is what we got. It's not lots and lots, but better keep in mind this is a tier 8 map. We got 2 levels, basically 2 full levels, going from 72 to 74. We found a unique, we found a few exalts, some assorted currency, 5 or 6 maps, anything on this side, by the way. These maps I already had in the inventory because they're maps I was just going to run with this. But everything around here we found. So, Chance Orb, Regal Orb, you know, assorted amount of currency. It's definitely not too bad. We did this on a higher level. I don't think we got any breach splinters, and I think that's because of the difficulty this map was on. We need to be on a higher difficulty to be getting the breach splinters. But we're just levels off of being able to do that. The gear's probably going to carry us through, especially if we can get this thing over to CI, which is where I'll be looking to take it. So, next video I will be doing on this will likely be where I'm going to have this for endgame, with all of its maxed out jewels, with its tree all finished, pushing over into CI, possibly during the Jewel Herald build. So, I hope you've enjoyed the series up to this far. If you watched them all, or if this is the first one you've watched, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one, or on a live stream, or indeed another video. Have a good one. Catch you later.